Carrington, MacDuffie. This is Star Seeds of Freedom. Today we're going to talk about how messages, secret messages from the subconscious arise through our speech and our language, and how that can actually be analyzed and secrets revealed. If this is something that interests you, the workings of the subconscious, then send me an email to the contact info below, and I will send you directly to your inbox a link to a really cool piece of spoken word music, sound, and video that I created out of a dream, out of the subconscious. I have a whole series of these pieces, but I'm going to send one to you directly. Meanwhile, here we go with today's guest. I'm Carrington MacDuffie. This is Star Seeds of Freedom, and today's show is going to be an adventure because I only just became aware of David Oates and his work with reverse speech, which is absolutely fascinating. So I'll be discovering it along with you. I mean, all my shows are adventures, but I'll just say that he takes recordings of speech, reverses them, and finds all kinds of gems in the reversed recording. So we're going to get to hear about that and maybe even hear some samples of that work. And I'm very excited about it. So David, thank you so much for connecting with me. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yes, all the way from Australia. Awesome.
Yeah, way down under. I lived in America for 10 years in the 90s, spreading the word, doing lectures and workshops and, getting all over America. But I've been back home for, 25 years now.
Well, tell us about, if you would, how I know you've been lecturing. I know you've got I don't know how many books out. You're going to tell us about that, but tell us about what your background, how you came to discover reverse speech, and how you got into it. We really want to hear about this.
Well, I've got 20 books out, so I'm quite a prolific writer. I got into this back in the early 80s, and I'm a youth worker by profession. And I was running a half a house to street kids, street kids coming off the street, drugs and homelessness and, all those sort of problems. And one of the kids came in and they said to me, have you heard about backward masking? And I go, no, I don't know what that is. And he gave me a cassette tape and of a fundamentalist preacher preaching that rock and roll was the devil's music. And if you played records backwards, you hear these satanic messages. Well, I'm an electronics buff. I'm a ham radio operator. I'm pretty familiar with electronics. I went home and got a tape player, rewired it to play backwards and started playing these records backwards. And I could hear what they said was there. And I go, oh, that's really quite strange. How is that getting there? And thus began a research project that has continued right until this day of running tapes in reverse. In 87, I accidentally stumbled across an normal human speech. And previous to that, I was sort of casually interested from 84 to 87. In 87, I stumbled across it in human speech. And I was absolutely fascinated. It never occurred to me that it could occur in speech. So I started researching speech, and then I wrote my theory in April of 87. And my theory states that language is bi-level, forwards as well as backwards. As the brain is putting the sounds of speech together, it's doing it in such a way that we're saying two things at once. One forward from the conscious mind, and the other one in reverse from the unconscious mind. I maintain this is a natural function of language. All of us are doing it every time we speak. It's part of what human intuition is all about, or that gut feeling or sense that there's more to what someone is saying than meets the eye. What I'll do, I'm just getting up my examples here, and I will play. Why am I in that? Oh, here we go. And I'll play you the very first example I ever heard on human speech that sent me on my 40-year research project now. I've been doing this full time for 40 years.
Wow.
This is the first one I found on human speech. And let's run it forward. You'll recognize this famous track. Man, Neil Armstrong and his famous first words, and backwards he says, man will spacewalk. Man will spacewalk. Man will spacewalk. Did you hear that there?
Yes, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought when I found it. I thought that's crazy. What is this all about?
What?
And then this is back in '87, and then on the same day, I found another one in speech, and this is I go way back in history here. This is uh, this is a live commentary of JFK's assassination in Dallas, Texas. So here's the forwards.
All right, just a moment, please. Something has happened in the motorcade route. Stand by, please. Parkland Hospital, there has been a shooting. Parkland Hospital has been advised to stand by for a severe gunshot wound.
And backwards, he says, he shot bad. Hold it. Try and look up.
He shot bad. Hold it. Try and look up.
And again.
He shot bad. Hold it. Try and look up.
You hear that one okay?
Yes. Yes.
So once again, I was fascinated. I thought, well, that's exactly what he would have been thinking. JFK's been shot. He's shot bad. Hold it. Stop everything. Try and look up. Look around. Where do you see the gunshots coming from? And those two examples really propelled me into my career. It's one thing to hear it in music. It's a bit of a oddity, it's a bit of a amusing little thing. But to suddenly hear it in speech puts a whole new dimension to it. And I started researching prolifically. In '87, I really started full-time. I was only part-time from '84 to '87. And I started researching prolifically. I wrote my first book on reverse speech, released in November of '87.
And what's that book called? What's the title of that?
Beyond Backward Masking.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the first book I released. Then I just suddenly found myself with a whole new career. I had radio shows ringing me and TV stations ringing me. I got invitations to come to America to lecture, and it's been nonstop since then. So, yeah.
So I just remember, of course, the famous thing, Paul is dead from the Beatles, right? That was a pretty big deal, and there was a lot of controversy as to whether that was real or not. But I remember hearing that and thinking, oh, yeah.
That was when I was a teenager. I remember listening to the local radio station would play Beatles records backwards. I get really spooked. It was really scary back in the days. Look, there are backward messages on the Beatles album that hint Paul McCartney died. They do exist. Personally, I think it's a marketing gimmick by John Lennon. That's my own personal belief. But some people claim that Paul McCartney did die, and the Beatles hid blues in their albums. I don't know either way. But what that did was it got teenagers around the world playing records backwards to find messages of the Beatles, and then they found other messages in music that were not put there deliberately. Let me see if I can play a music example.
Okay.
This is Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh.
This is an example in music. So here we go. And this one backwards says, I believe in my cool woman. Oops. Right. Did it wrong. Here we go. And again. It's a nice phrase. There's nothing sort of satanic or evil about it.
No, play that again, would you? Because it was hard to catch it.
Was it? Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's just the zoom and the whole...
I believe in my cool woman. And again. You having trouble hearing that one, eh?
Yeah. I can tell. I believe in my cool woman, I think is what
that's
right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. And then we have here. Let me just play a really simple example in speech. This is Angelina Jolie.
I grew up kind of very aware of my own emotions.
I grew up very aware of my emotions, and backwards she says, I'm very aware.
I'm very aware.
I'm very aware.
You hear that one?
Yes.
That's what we call a congruent reversal, where she's saying the same thing backwards as she does forwards.
How often do you run into that congruent reversal?
Oh, more often than you might think. Yeah. Most people don't go out and deliberately lie. Well, we have self lies and self deceits, but yeah, I hear congruent reversals fairly often. Yeah. Here's another one. Let me got another one here. Yeah, here we go. This is Newt Gingrich talking about an immigration bill.
It's an amazingly badly written bill.
It's an amazingly badly written bill, and backwards he says the real bad bill.
The real bad bill. The real bad bill.
And we call that
the real bad bill.
That's a congruent reversal. He's saying the same thing backwards as he did forwards.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me play you an incongruent reversal. This is where they're lying. This is an example of, where is it? Oh, here we go. This is convicted murderer Scott Peterson. Now, I know you can remember the trial. He's currently sitting in jail in California. He was found guilty of murdering his wife. His wife was found decapitated. That's important for the reversal that's coming up. So here he is before his criminal trial. A reporter says to him, "Did you murder your wife?"
Did you murder your wife? No, I did not.
So he denies it. No, I did not. But backwards he says, "Neck, I hit hard."
Neck, I hit hard.
And again.
Neck, I hit hard.
Hear that? It sounds creepy too, doesn't it?
That is very creepy given what he's saying. And also the texture of his voice when you reverse it like that, the growl in there.
I know, it sounds really spooky.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's doing, he's denying the crime. No, I did not murder my wife. But at the same time, he's thinking about how he did it, and I hit her hard on the back of the neck. So she was decapitated.
Mm-hmm. So why do you suppose, well, there's a lot about Satanism that, things are flipped, right? That's a lot of what Satanism is. Things get flipped, reversed, backwards. Right. Do you think that there's any connection to that with reverse speech?
I get asked that question. Yeah, look, I get asked that question a lot. It's one of the reasons why reverse speech got its satanic title. People say that's all satanic. Look, yes, Satanism and occultism do reverse things. They play prayers backwards. They walk backwards. And look, it's an occultic practice. I'm aware of that. However, I don't subscribe anything satanic to this at all. I maintain it's a natural function of language. It's an automatic brain function. We're all doing it. It's a shame it's got a satanic label attached to it, and I'm constantly fighting that satanic description. Yeah, look, it all came from Aleister Crowley, well-known occultist, and in his book Magic, he had an appendix that instructed believers to play records backwards and watch music back, watch videos back, or film backward. Wasn't videos back in those days. So that's where it came from. I know what to tell you. I do not believe this is satanic at all. It's a natural function of
the brain, I guess.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because that we would be able to do that makes sense to me, and that we would be completely unaware of it also makes sense to me. When you consider that we only use 10% of our brain, there's 90% of it that's been blocked off from us. So we don't even know what we're doing half the time, I think. So it's not surprising to me that we would be doing dual messaging like this, but it's fascinating that it's backwards, that you have to that's where you find it.
Yeah. I've often been asked, why is it backwards? I really don't have the answer for that. It could be high speed, it could be slow speed, or it happens to be backwards. The brain is known to have reversing functions, like sight is reversed in the lens of the eyes before it's processed by the brain. Mm-hmm. It's backwards because it's hidden.
Yeah.
I believe that the human condition is created to be honest. And there's other ways besides reverse speech. There's body language, for example, and Freudian slips, and there's many skin color tones changing. There's many ways in which the unconscious communicates. And yeah, you're right. It's the other 90% of the brain that is not engaged, that we're aware of in conversation. And I maintain that other 90% of the brain is speaking, but it's speaking in reverse, and we can tap into that. Look, a lot of messages are very cryptic and archetypal in nature, especially when I'm working with clients. I have a very busy therapeutic practice where I use reverse speech in working with my client. That's how I earn my living, through my therapy practice. And reverse speech will come down and give us some amazing information. For example, let me play an example from therapy. Let me see if I can pull this one up real quick. Where's the one I'm looking for?
And this is a way of, in therapy, you use it to help people find what's going on in their unconscious so that that can be healed.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. Where's the one I'm looking for? There's a particular one I'm looking for here. I've got so many examples here. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. All right. So here's a client who came to me with money problems, okay? And she's talking about her money issues.
She and I need to work this issue out, but it started to bring up all my money fears and stuff. And the thing is if I know I start sourcing fear again, I'm going to go way downhill.
Want to do that.
Backwards, it says, work on my grief.
Work on my grief.
Work on my grief. You hear that okay?
Yes.
So that's the unconscious telling us that her money issues are due to grief. Now, using regular therapy, that may take weeks to get to.
Yeah.
But reverse speech will get to it in just one recording. And so this is the unconscious telling me that we need to work on her grief. And there's another example I saw while I was scrolling through. Here we go. This is a woman who came to me with relationship issues. Okay, so here she is talking about it. She's talking about her recently breaking up with a boyfriend.
My friend Cheryl was just telling me about, what we believe, we then create, and it just shifted. And that's when I just.
Here she says, "I've been molested."
I've been molested.
You hear that? So I played her that reversal and she broke down in tears. Yes, she had been molested as a young child. She wasn't going to tell me, but it was significant. It affected her relationships. And so it came out in her reversals. I've been molested.
Wow.
And reverse speech is amazing in pinpointing the precise reason or cause for someone's issue. Because the unconscious knows, the conscious doesn't know, but the unconscious, and it will reveal that information.
Yes, that's amazing. So that's quite a shortcut for
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
when you think how long talk therapy can take and still go nowhere,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's how I use it primarily in therapy, and of course, I do all the reversals on the politicians.
Oh yeah. Right? Do you find a lot? So with politicians, do you find a lot more, remind me the term, when it doesn't agree?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did Tim Walz last night.
Boy. Okay.
So this guy up, where are we? Okay. So I had a lot of people ask me about Tim Walz. What can I play on the air? Yeah, here he is talking about Kamala Harris.
Because when you wake up on that 88th day, you're going to get to say, "Welcome, Madam President Harris."
And here he says, "Yes, she's fake and angry."
Yes, she's fake and angry. Yes, she's fake and angry.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Yes, she's fake and angry.
There you go. That's a bit of a insight. But here we have a nice one on him. He's talking about his daughter, Hope.
So I have to tell you, it wasn't by chance when that phone call finally came and we found out we were going to welcome our daughter into the world.
And he says, "I love you."
I love you. I love you. I love you.
So he loves his daughter. No surprise there.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what you get. You get people's real feelings. Obviously he doesn't like Kamala. She's fake and angry. And he doesn't really like himself. He was having a go at himself.
I'm so incredibly proud to be on this ticket. And I want to give a big shout out with the support of a special group tonight, Culinary Workers Union 227.
He says, "But you're no one, dickhead."
But you know what, dickhead?
We're gonna want tickets. We're gonna want tickets.
There you go. I don't make these stuff up. I just find them.
Right. No, you're the one you just dug it up.
Look, it's a fascinating career. I love doing this. It's you get so many funny things. Let's see. Oh, here's Kamala Harris telling us about all these things she's going to bring in.
With affordable health care, affordable paid leave.
Here she says, reveal debt. So all her policies are going to lead us into more debt, is basically what she's saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we would be able to corroborate pretty easily.
Yeah. So they're everywhere. You take any section of speech and run it backwards, you're going to find that they occur about once every 15 or 20 seconds of speech. They're that frequent. They're constantly happening. If you ever listen to anyone speak for any long period of time, you'll notice their speech is full of pauses and stutters and stammers. And my research shows that a lot of those inconsistencies of speech are actually there to communicate speech reversals. So they will frequently occur in those mispronunciations of speech. Here, look, I've got a funny one on Biden that will graphically illustrate this. Let me put this one up real quick. I literally have got hundreds of thousands of reversals on my computer. Oh, here we go. Okay, this is Biden with his listen to this pause and stutters and stammers.
There's been no indication that's the case at all with regard to, there's a total of.
Of course, he's well known for his ums, ahs, and he says, "Have I lost it?"
Have I lost it? Have I lost it?
So there you go.
Have I lost it?
So there you go. It's a bit of a Some people would say he has indeed lost it.
Yes, I think we know the answer to that.
And then we have a little one that's a little bit ominous. I'm just pulling this out at random here. I have to be in my Biden file. Here's one that's ominous.
One of the great gifts of the spirit of independence. And think about this. One of the great gifts is our capacity to see ourselves whole and see ourselves honestly.
And here it says, "You're not safe, Armageddon." I don't know whether Armageddon's going to be coming or not, but certainly there's a lot of conflicts in the world going on right now, isn't there?
Yeah, maybe Armageddon for him,
Yeah, maybe so. Let's look at, seeing we've looked at Kamala, and let's look at some current ones on Trump. What have I got on Trump here? I don't know whether you're Trump fans or not. I always get into trouble when I play political reversals. I'll always upset the other person.
I'm not very easily upset about other people, so.
All right, so here's Trump. Let me play this one.
Cash bail releasing 400,000 criminals onto our streets. Think of no more cash bail. Look at what happened in New York.
And then the battle with the light.
And then the battle with the light. And then the battle with the light. And then the battle with the light.
Some people would say we're fighting a battle between the light and dark. And Pelosi says the same thing.
It's heartbreaking, and it lacks knowledge about what the role is of FEMA and the others in time of natural disaster.
And here she says, it's a war with the light.
It's a war with the light. It's a war with the light. It's a war with the light.
Not as clear as the other one, but it is there.
Yep.
Yeah, and so we are in a war. We are in a battle. And politicians tell us that.
Yeah.
Depends on which side you want to be on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let me look at some of Trump from 2024. That was 2023, 2024 Trump file. Oh, I found one the other day that I didn't know I had. Here we go. This is okay. Let me just copy this onto my right file so I can put my hands on it quickly next time.
How do you record them?
Oh, well, politicians, I just download them from YouTube.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
All right. Here is a reversal on Trump from 6 months ago. So here we go.
Our country's going to hell. You don't mind me using that horrible word, don't you? I use that word because our country's really in trouble. It's in trouble like it's never been before, in my opinion. We have a man who's grossly incompetent dealing with nuclear war.
Oh, this one says prevents the killer but missed it.
Prevents the killer but missed it. Prevents the killer but missed it.
You hear that?
Prevents the killer but missed it.
Which is very ironic because the killer was shot and he missed Trump. And here we have Trump 2 weeks prior to the assassination.
We did
assassination attempt, sorry.
We raised more money after this crooked trial than we've ever raised. I think than any candidate. I think we raised over $400 million. Can you believe it?
And here he says Crooks. Of course, the killer's name was Crooks, Thomas Crooks. Crooks, see the fate. We call that a premonition reversal, where they're tapping into hidden knowledge that they would not know consciously, but they know unconsciously. I've got one on JFK that really graphically illustrates this. Okay, here we go. Let me run this for. This is JFK in his inaugural address. Tell me if I'm going off topic here. I'm sorry.
No, this is great. I mean, it's fascinating.
Okay, all right. So here's JFK in his inaugural address. This one will send chills down your spine. This one.
The slow undoing of those human rights to which this nation has always been committed, and to which we are committed today at home and around the world.
So this was in 1961. He says, head is hit in the car.
Head is hit in the car. Head is hit in the car.
You hear that one okay? And that's exactly what happened to him. His head was hit in the car and he was shot. So we're getting a glimpse into his future, a premonition. And reverse speech will give premonitions. They're not common. They don't happen very often, but they do happen. And where you get glimpses into the future, like Trump. Crooks, see this fate. How would he possibly know the name of his assassin?
So it seems like in therapy, the use of it would be more the past.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. 90% of all therapeutic issues I deal with have their root in childhood, in our early childhood years. And it's just so important to give our kids good, grounded, solid, loving childhood.
Yeah.
And there's so many people who don't have it. It breaks my heart. You know, like I say, a lot of working with my clients is in resolving childhood issues.
Yeah.
And,
how did you get into being a therapist? Was it through the reverse speech?
Well, I was a therapist before I started doing reverse speech. I was a youth counselor. So,
I see.
You know, I'd had it was through the church. I had training with the church as a pastor and counselor, and which is really how I got into this in the first place, was through my church connections. So. Well, then when I started doing reverse speech, would have friends come around and say, hey, David, tape me, find out what's going on with me. So I record them, and it just sort of led on to that. And in 89, I was asked to work, or 88, I think, 88, I was asked to work for a therapist and in recording her clients. And so I would record her clients, prepare a transcript, take her back to the therapist, and she would then read it out with a client. And that didn't last too long before I was doing it myself. Clients would come to me and I'd be recording them and playing it back. So it was a gradual process. I've developed a fairly unique therapeutic technique for working with reverse speech. I've developed my own form of hypnosis for rewiring the unconscious. Let me talk about the metaphorical side of reverse speech quickly.
Yes, I'd love to hear that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't normally get into this on radio shows because it gets down fairly deep. But here we have, where are we? See, where is that one I'm looking for? Metaphor.
And depth is good with me. I have a whole library of archetypal psychology and.
Oh, okay. Oh, well then, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me play you a classic metaphor. This is on me. I'm talking to a client who's had a nervous breakdown.
You're a very enthusiastic guy. I mean, certainly the time we've been together and you've got all full of ideas. Is this latest? Is this just a latest idea? Is it just all froth and bubble, or do you really want to get out? And do you really want to get
backwards? I say, see the wolf fallen in the lake.
See the wolf fallen in the lake.
See the wolf fallen in the lake. You hear that?
Yes, talk about archetypal. That's
exactly right.
Yeah, that's dream talk now.
You're absolutely right. And when I first started doing reversals with clients, these metaphors just really threw me. I didn't. What does that mean? See the wolf fall in the lake.
Yeah.
It took me many years to work it out. And actually, one of my crowning glories is my reverse speech dictionary, which gives definition for many of the metaphors. The way I worked it out, you've probably noticed already how the forward and the reverse relate to each other. You've got this connection. Like, we're talking politics and you don't hear I'm going to buy pizza. It's a political type reversal. And I was able to look at the context of the metaphors with the forward speech. And over many years, seeing the same context over and over again, I was able to put meaning to them. So wolf is our drive, our motivation. A lake is a sea of emotions. So when I say see the wolf fall in the lake, I'm seeing my client drown in his own emotions. Okay. So how do we change that? I developed a technique I call metaphor structuring, and it took me many years to develop it. The theory is that the unconscious thinks in pictures or metaphor. And human behavior is formed by a complex metaphoric structure. So if we want to change human behavior, then all we need to do, I'm skipping years here. If we want to change human behavior, then my approach is we change the metaphors of the unconscious. So I will have my client go into a light hypnotic state. I'll have them see the metaphor like a wolf falling in the lake, and I'll literally take the wolf out of the lake. It's in practice a little bit more complicated than this. I'm oversimplifying it. But as you change the metaphor, then so too are you changing the behavior. And reverse speech enables me to see the metaphors and archetypes that structure the unconscious mind. This is very Jungian.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, this reminds me of active imagination work where you can go into a dream or even a vision, and you can change in your waking mind what happened there, and it affects you, affects your emotionality. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what I'm doing in another form, going into the unconscious and change the metaphor. And this is, look, my public work is all on politics. I do everything once, but 80 to 90% of all my work is working with metaphors. Okay.
Cool.
And here's a very simple metaphor to understand. This is a woman who just got out of a cult. Okay. So she's talking about the cult leader.
Why don't you like to give him that power?
Because he's scared to death to take it. I'm not responsible for you.
Backwards, she says, fed the great Caesar. Is that one okay? So Caesar, strong, dominant male, fed, nurtured, nourished. I've looked after this leader. I've fed him. I've nurtured him. I've fed him. So fed the great Caesar. So it's a fairly easy metaphor to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, he's fed off of her.
You hit the nail right on the head there. Yeah. Here's let me find one about I got a great one here. Where is it? Here's one. I wasn't. This is a metaphor following my session work with my client.
The feedback from the reversals that I've done with her, it's for me, it's not hard anymore. It's really lovely.
This one says, "Spirit and the goddess will serve her."
Spirit and the goddess will serve her.
Wow.
Spirit and the goddess will serve her.
Yeah, goddess is hope for the future, dreams, passion, aspirations. So she's connected to spirit and she has hope for the future. And
that was a very clear one, too. That was one of the more clear statements, backward statements of what you've played.
Yeah, some of the metaphors are clearer than just regular everyday reversals. They come out very, very clear. What else have I got on my metaphor file? I've got so many. Oh, here's one. This is a woman talking about working with guides, I think.
Everything is.
I want to believe in the guides and all the other wonderful little things
that
other people
guides.
have to believe in, you know. But
Here she says, "Garden of evil."
Garden of evil. Garden of evil.
So believing guides and spirits is not working well for her.
You have a lot of American clients.
Yes, that's because I lived in America for in all of the 1990s.
Right.
And when I came back home, my clientele just followed me. So, yeah, 80% of all my clients are from America. Yeah. And I have a few from Australia. I'm not very well known in Australia, actually. You know, I'm still known in America, but no, I don't have many Australian clients. They're all mainly American. I got a couple from England. You know, so yeah. And of course, I do all my work over Zoom, of course. So, puts me in contact with the whole world.
Yes. Yes, we've all gotten used to Zoom.
It's changed everything, hasn't it?
It really has. It really has. I mean, I've met this way. I mean, met a lot of people because of it. And at the same time, we've been so divided. I mean, separated, I should say. Made, more isolated the last few years. But we've been able to connect this way.
Yeah. Well, I do all my training classes over Zoom. I train people how to do this. It's another one of my things I do. And let me play a really wonderful reversal. This is on a client who's had some good shifts from the session work.
I was just visualizing the whirlwind, visualizing the wolf like we used to do because we've done it before.
Absolutely.
And it just started bringing that power and that life force, and I just got something absolutely fantastic.
This is one of my English clients, and he says, "See yourself full with love. Give me whirlwind."
See yourself full with love. Give me whirlwind. See yourself full with love. Give me whirlwind.
And this is the unconscious saying, "Love. Fill yourself with love. Give me whirlwind." Common reverse speech metaphor. Reverse speech describes an energy field that surrounds us and the planet. It surrounds the whole planet and individuals. It calls it the whirlwind. We are all connected through the whirlwind. It's the way ESP and psychic abilities and all that happens is through the world. Reverse speech talks a lot about it, and I'm actually finally writing a book on the metaphors of reverse speech, and I've spent a whole chapter on the whirlwind so far. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through that book. Everyone's been asked me for years to write a book on the metaphors, so I'm finally doing it. So that's a great reversal. See yourself full with love. Give me whirlwind. Yeah,
it's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you're saying that whirlwind has come up pretty frequently.
It's a very common metaphor. Yeah, very common metaphor. Reverse speech also talks a lot about the soul. A lot of reversals describing the soul. Point of fact, reverse speech describes itself as being the voice in heaven. Listen to this. This is me on a radio show. Sometimes people ask me, does reverse speech endorse any particular religion? And the answer to that is no. There are no deities or religions that reverse speech endorses or says this is right or this is wrong. It just talks about the soul and the endlessness of life. And that in itself is very powerful. And here it says, it's the voice in heaven.
It's worse than heaven. It's worse than heaven.
The reverse speech describes itself as that divine voice, the divine spark coming from heaven, which I understand as being the deepest part of the mind. Heaven resides within. It's not in some cloud up there, So, and reverse speech talks a lot about the human soul. Let me get my file. Boy, I'm going deeper in this show than I normally go.
Awesome. This is the show to do it on.
Yeah, let me get my soul reversals up. Where are
Cool.
they? Soul
reversals.
Here's a lovely one. This is one of my students working with his client.
Well, they can get reversals that are pretty clearly from your unconscious mind, your subconscious.
This one says, "Soul serve you, make you feel love."
Soul serve you, make you feel love. Soul serve you, make you feel love.
You hear that one okay? Yeah. So there is nothing evil or satanic about reverse speech. Not at all. It's exactly the opposite. It talks about the soul, and it talks about God, talks about spiritual dimensions. That's really the most dramatic part of it. Here's one here. Let's play this one.
And I fully disclose. I let them know, look, I've got lawsuits pending, against this company, that company, this company.
Oh, that's right. This is a woman who's suing lots of companies for things I'm not too sure was now. I can't remember now. But she says backwards, and it's the soul I battle.
And makes you sound like a...
You hear that one okay? So all her lawsuits are a reflection of an inner battle that she has inside.
Yeah.
And so manifesting that out into the world with lawsuits against various companies.
Well, and doesn't that sound true? I mean, we do project what we experience within into our experience without. Absolutely.
We do. Yeah, that's one of the things reverse speech has taught me is the power of synchronicities. We create the world in which we live. Always be aware of those synchronicities around us because they're telling you something,
Yes. And that relates to the law of attraction. And, so these secrets are, well, they're not really secrets, but to the extent that they're hidden in our reversed speech, but they're discoverable.
They are discoverable. Yes, they are. Yeah. Let's have a look. All right, here we go. This actually touches on an interesting theory of reverse speech. I'll play this for you.
That'd be nice. I'm hoping I can work on manifesting.
Okay, he's talking about manifesting, and backwards he says the soul will need panic. Reverse speech says the soul is alive and active. It has emotions. It thinks. It experiences. And at some stage in this man's life, he's had a lot of panic. And his soul has learned that panic is what he wants. So he will go and create more panic, if that makes any sense.
Yes, well, I think, and the soul, as we know, doesn't really care about you. The soul just wants to experience what it wants to experience, whether it's pain or pleasure or joy or panic. It doesn't care, it's on its whole own trip. It's been my observation.
Here's a reversal I found on me that told me a lot about the soul. And I just come back from America. I was actually chased out of America. I was sued out of the country, but that's another story. Won't get into that. And my son had just died, and I was in a lot of pain and anguish.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was 24 years ago now. So here I am talking about it.
Yeah, could be. Well, see, I'm very sensitive to energy. Ultra sensitive to energy.
I'm sensitive to energy. Is that why I'm feeling this pain? And I want you to hear the emotion in this voice. Backwards, I say, my soul, give the pain.
My soul, give the pain. My soul, give the pain.
Hear the anguish in that.
Yes.
And that reversal really spoke to me. Gee, am I feeling this pain way down the level of my soul? Anyway, so I booked myself in for session work with one of my students and got it fixed up. So there you go.
So that was a powerful message for you, hearing it. I mean, there's even a melody to that that's very compelling.
Yeah, that reversal told me a lot about the way the soul functions and operates, and yeah. So, here is someone who was going to go invest in the stock market. Here we go.
Strong feeling.
Okay.
From the positive that yes, they're ready to come through.
Yeah.
They're just pushing to come through.
Right.
Yeah, that is very, very strong.
Uh-huh.
In fact, that's a lot stronger than the uncertainty of the negative.
So the context is talking about investing on the stock market. And he says, I have a strong feeling of the positive. But backwards, he says, and my soul with the devil. Now, he lost all his money on the stock market. So,
no.
So he was totally reading things wrong. He was totally misreading the signals. So, yeah, it's an amazing thing, reverse speech. It's an incredible thing. All the mysteries of the universe are down there,
Yes, yes. Well, yes, in the unconscious. And it sounds like it has its own style of language because it doesn't sound like forward speech, and obviously you've learned to interpret it. The sound forms are different. I've done a little bit of recording that way. I'm a recording artist, and I've done some work with putting forward and backward language and laying them over each other to get texture. But really, it was for texture, not for content.
Right.
Because it sounds so different. It sounds familiar, but really different.
Yeah. Reverse speech has its own unique style to it, its own tonality. And a lot of my training of students is getting them used to that different sound. It sounds different. And look, the verses I played for you in the show today, they're very obvious and very clear, but I've already found them, and I've got them isolated. But actually trying to find them with the headphones on, they're very quick. They're only 1 or 2 seconds long, and then you got all this gibberish in between. Mm-hmm. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of skill in learning how to find them. It's I'm hoping to get artificial intelligence speech recognition developed. That's my next project. And if we can get speech recognition to find the verses for us, then we're in a whole new ballpark.
Yes,
altogether.
Wow. That's almost frightening. The information that would come up from that.
It is frightening. But anyway, that's my project.
So did you, being in ham radio, that came first also before you got into reverse speech, right? So you were already tuning into sound vibration, into sound forms, and into the transmission of speech, right? Through ham radio. And also, did you learn, because listening to radio with that kind of broadcast, it isn't always necessarily clear. There can be a lot of static, right?
Yeah, very difficult to hear, especially when you're decoding very faint Morse code signals amongst the static, and radio has a different sound to it. It sounds different because of sideband transmissions. I won't get into the theory behind it, but my background in ham radio was a tremendous advantage to me.
Yes,
my ears were trained.
So is it the frequencies that it's being transmitted on that gives it that makes it more difficult to hear?
What you talking about, ham radio?
Ham radio, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, the type of transmission it uses. It uses most ham radio signals that are broadcast on what's called single sideband, which is only half the waveform, and so it has this very warbly sound to it because of that.
Yeah.
Very similar to reverse speech sounds, actually.
Right. Right. So I see. So the wave is like this, but you're only catching this.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to decode that to some degree.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I kind of feel that a lot of my background sort of really led me into this, and I was given all the skills necessary before I started doing reverse speech to actually work with it. So So,
And how did you come up with 20 books? That's a lot. You've been a busy man.
well, I've written, I think, 3 of them are science fiction novels. I'm a sci-fi writer. Well, though I incorporate reverse speech into the sci-fi novels, and I've written a couple of spiritual books. One called The Lessons of Love, which is my understanding of the Gospels, and one called The Gospel According to Bruce, which is a book about Jesus coming to Australia in today's modern society. It's written in Aussie slang, but most of them about reverse speech. I've written 15 books on reverse speech.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Right.
And can people find your books on Amazon? Where can people find your books? I want to make sure. I'll be putting this information in the show notes.
Yeah, they're all on Amazon. You can get hardback, paperback, or Kindle. So they're all on there.
And on your website, do you have a website that people can visit?
Reversespeech.com. That's REVERSESPEECH.com. Yeah.
That's how I found you.
There you go.
So you can find him, folks, at reversespeech.com. This is David Oates. And are there any other, let me know if there are any other reversals you want us to hear. I know people are thirsty for this kind of thing, but if you've run through your, the gamut of what you want to share, that's fine too.
Yeah, let me play this one. We'll finish off with this one here, okay?
Yeah.
This is, we're getting close. This is an example of the spirit talking to the conscious mind. A lot of reversals are internal dialogue where spirit is talking to consciousness. There's a constant dialogue that's transpiring. We're given advice and suggestions. And so here's one example of this. This is one of my students who's got problems with finances, and he's talking to his tape recorders about his financial issues.
Does it further for us to put more energy and money and effort?
That's all I got. And backwards he says, "You're frightened, lean on me."
You're frightened, lean on me. Lean on me.
And that's his spirit talking to him, saying, "Look, I know you're frightened. I know you're upset. Lean on me. Trust in me." And I think, if anything, reverse speech, if you accept reverse speech is real, which a lot of people don't, but let's assuming you do, then I believe it is a very concrete proof of the existence of the spiritual realm and the existence of the human spirit, because it's constantly there, constantly talking to us, giving us advice and guidance and instructions. And I just find that fascinating.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That last message, that's a really wonderful message. Thank you for playing that. And very clear too. That was maybe the clearest one.
Yeah, a lot of them some of them are clearer than others. Some are so clear you think they're forwards, and others you really got to, listen hard to get. So, they vary in clarity.
So are you taking clients for therapy at this point, or are you full up?
Oh, no, I'm always taking clients for therapy. No, I got about a half a client load right now, so I've actually got a fair bit of room. It ebbs and flows. Sometimes I'm full up, and now I'm on a bit of a lull. That'll change.
Well, the good thing about that means that people are actually getting what they need and moving on, because that's the point of therapy, right?
That's true. Yeah. I strive to get success. And reverse speech will give that success. For the first time in human history, we now have a way to look into and hear the workings of the unconscious. We haven't been able to do that before. Look, if Carl Jung was still alive, I'm sure he'd be on the first plane out to see me.
Yes.
Your reverse speech is very Jungian. It really is, in terms of the metaphors and archetypes and the information it gives.
Yeah, the wolf in the lake. That's wonderful. I mean, we've had access to the subconscious through, it speaks through our dreams, and then you can interpret those. I mean, I think our dreams there are a lot of different things functions that dreams have, but dreams speak to us also from the unconscious, and all kinds of messages there to be interpreted or just to be felt, even if you don't analyze it. Well, just to have direct language that's pretty amazing, to be spoken to directly like this.
You know, it's funny. I've had clients I've taken on their hypnosis journeys, and they've had dreams the night before of the very thing I gave them in their hypnosis journey, which is fascinating. So,
wow. And hypnosis. So, what? Tell me about that a little before we end. I'd like to know a little about that. What? Do you have a specific method that you were trained in, or did you develop it on your own?
Well, I was trained in Ericksonian hypnosis in the late 80s when I took my training, but I've really developed my own technique and my own style, specifically designed for reverse speech metaphors. So my founding is in Ericksonian hypnosis, but I've developed my own style, my own structures around it. So,
well, you seem like the kind of guy who's going to figure things out for himself.
I normally do. I try to.
And have your own, you've developed a lot through your own investigations and come to your own conclusions. It's a really wonderful way. It's wonderful that you have a kind of work where you grow through your work. It isn't just for others,
Oh yeah, absolutely, tremendously so. Yes, definitely. Actually, for anyone who's followed my career, you will know the back in my early days, I had a very bad speech stutter.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, my first radio and TV shows were just shocking. I go through, but I've used reverse speech to fix it. I've found out why I stutter and overcome it that way. So it's still in my speech. You'll hear it every now and then creep in, but it's gone for the most part now.
That's really wonderful. Well, I want to invite people to visit your website at reversespeech.com and find out more about David and the work that he's offering. If you need help, maybe he's the guy to help you out because, you can cover any kind of issue with this sort of work.
Oh, yes, you can. Yeah. I have an amazing case studies behind me. Next year, I'm writing a book on case studies. I'm going to choose 12 clients and just write a whole book about it. So that's
with 12 chapters or 12 sections.
Yeah, 12 chapters.
And the one that you're working on now, do you know when that will be out?
I'm almost finished it. I'm 3/4 of the way done. I should be finished by the end of this month, and it'll be out by the end of the year.
Okay. Okay, so people be looking out for that. This obviously David is just a fount of information and imagination and content. So again, reversespeech.com. Wow, what a pleasure. It's a fascinating way for you to have spent your life, and I really appreciate you sharing this. Do you let me ask you, actually, I keep trying to wrap up and then I have another question. Is some of this stuff available on your website, or do you do any of it on YouTube, or is it more just in interviews like this one?
Well, I have a lot of YouTube videos up. I'm uploading 2 or 3 each week.
I see. Okay.
I just uploaded one last night on Tim Walls. I'm going to upload one tonight on Kamala Harris. So yeah, I am uploading fairly regularly.
And what's your YouTube channel then?
Just David Oates.
Okay.
Yeah, David Oates, I think.
Oates. Well, I think people are going to be navigating to your YouTube channel pretty quick.
Good. Marvelous. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate the interview, and I appreciate you helped me get the word out there.
Well, it's been great. Thank you.
You're most welcome.